Hi, this is JINYUAN. Today I'm going to give my presentation on the reflection on my client Chantel's case. First of all, some information about Chantel. So she's a 16-year-old female student. She's brought by by her mother, Peter. The reason for her presence, according to Peter, is that she is experiencing irritability, the moodiness. She's skipping school and has lowered grade. The underlying reason, which is unknown to Peter, is related to Chantel's new homosexual relationship with a 25-year-old female, which would not be accepted by her family's moral and religious value and political beliefs, because they perceive homosexuality as morally wrong. The fear of confronting and challenging her parents' view and the potential rejection from the family is the core reason that influenced Chantel's mental health and daily functioning. The rest of the presentation will show my reflection on Chantel's case using ethical decision-making model. This ethical decision-making model is adapted from Culture and Case Speckle's ethical decision-making model. The order of these 8 steps are rearranged according to this case to analyze the case of Chantel. So the first step is that to identify the ethical issues in the dilemma. The first feature of the case is that Chantel is one, underaged, and second, her girlfriend is 6 years older than her, and her belief is conflicted with the family's value. So related to this dilemma, there are 4 ethical concerns. Because she is still dependent on her parents, which are her guardians, should I, as her clinician, respect the autonomy of Chantel? If yes, to what degree? And second of all, for the confidentiality, should I reveal the sexual orientation of Chantel on her behalf or keep it a secret? The third one, do I have enough competence to understand her family dynamic, political and religious orientation on this issue? If I understand, do I have enough resources and experience to work with it? When I face conflicting views, can I be objective and understanding for both views? What if my belief is conflicting with one of them too? These are the ethical concerns of this case. To find the answers to these questions and concerns, I will identify more factors that will influence my decision. The second step is that to identify personal factors that could influence decision. And this tied into the general principle that as a clinician, I need to avoid giving preference to one option. So the objectivity and a neutral standpoint is essential for making ethical decisions. There are 3 possible factors that I need to examine. First one, the personal characteristics, such as my own age and gender, sexual orientation, and socioeconomic status. The second one, my own values. I need to identify my position on homosexuality and the coming out process. Do I bias towards any side? The third one, culture. Do I identify with any culture or religion that has very prescribed views on homosexuality? After identifying the personal influence, I need to be aware of the influence on my objectivity and rationality. I need to examine the external influence of Chantel's case further. So there are 5 relative parties, and I studied their influence according to the closeness to the issue. For the family and friend group, they could provide either social support or rejection in relation to Chantel's sexuality, and they will influence her social identity, which is essential for gay adolescents. And for the girlfriend, there is age difference of 6 years, which may imply the power imbalance in the relationship, which puts Chantel in a vulnerable place for exploitation. So I need to remind Chantel of that. But it's legal for her to form a relationship with older adults at this age. So I still need to assist her exploring the relationship. For the Chantel's parent, it's their illegal responsibility to protect the safety of Chantel, but they don't have the full right for accessing Chantel's information. So I need to include that in the consent. For the school teachers, it's their responsibility for Chantel's school performance and well-being, so they need to address the potential bullying and discrimination in school environment for Chantel as a sexual minority. So I need to keep these personal and external elements in mind and further consult the code of ethics. So the listed codes are relevant to Chantel's case. The highlighted ones are the most relevant to the ethical concerns mentioned previously. 8.1 Justice. I, as a psychologist, are encouraged to assist unfair discrimination or prejudice for Chantel, which is presented in her family. 8.2 Respect. I need to respect the autonomy of Chantel as a 6-year-old who is legal to give consent. 8.5 Confidentiality. I should safeguard the confidentiality, and I should only reveal the information to the parent under Chantel's consent. B.1 Competence. I need to practice within the limits of my education, training, and knowledge, and I need to seek for professional supervision to ensure I'm making the best decision possible for Chantel. B.3 Professional responsibility. I need to be responsible of the conduct and decisions during the service. Separate 2 Communication. I need to be honest and informative during the communication. These codes are combined under the ethical concerns mentioned previously. Other codes could also inform my conduct. For example, be ethically considerate. Both Chantel and her parent need to consent for the sake of benefiting the client. Information and assistance could be requested from other associated parties mentioned previously after they consent. The third party, as Peter, only have access to the information under Chantel's consent. If potential service Peter is required, then follow B.5 for guidance. These are the useful guidelines for informing our ethical decisions, and I have generated 4 possible actions and their consequences of each action. And I have consulted with experienced colleagues who has experience in working with homosexual young people. So the first option is that if Chantel's case is considered by me and the experienced colleagues as beyond my competence, Chantel would be referred to a more competent and experienced specialist. This could benefit the client for better service and assistance, though additional time, money, and effort will be required to start the process over. Option 2, I will keep the confidentiality of Chantel's sexuality from Peter. I will work with some Chantel's issues with fear, stigma, emotional responsibility, stability, and related dysfunctioning in school. This would benefit her to avoid distressing confrontation with Peter and coping with the current situation without challenging the family views, though the eventual disclosure could not be avoided, which creates problem for long-term efficacy of my treatment. So for the option 3, I will apply the same strategy for Chantel as option 2, and after her consent to give information to Peter, I will work with Peter to adjust her prejudice for sexuality. I will assess her acceptance of non-heterosexuality to understand the amount of education and dialogue that involved. I will apply psycho-educational strategy to provide accurate information and thus educate Peter about sexuality. I will assist the family in conversation and understanding between 2 parties. I will assist their new social adjustment in religious and political membership with new understanding about homosexuality. Benefits of this option is that it is evident that parental acceptance is related to lower level of mental distress and better academic performance for gay adolescents. This approach could thus have more long-term benefits as it assists the core of the problem. However, the risks of social disapproval and confrontation has increased, which could be distressing for Chantel. Moreover, given it could be a long progress, the time and financial commitment is essential for this treatment. For the option 4, I will take the informative and assistant approach. I will present all options with possible outcomes, benefits, and risks. I assist her decision-making process and consequential actions, and I have set the boundary as her responsibility of making informed decision. And this, by doing this, I will meet all the ethical codes of conduct, and I will respect the autonomy of Chantel while maintaining the controllability of the situation. However, the time costs to evaluate all options is increased, and Chantel may not choose the most suitable option with the most long-term benefits given the risks involved, though any decision should be respected and assisted. Overall, option 4 would be chosen as the final ethical decision of Chantel's case. What have I learned from this case is that it's personally challenging to keep my own moral and ethical values away from the judgment, to be unbiased, objective, and respectful for client value and decisions. And it is also challenging to reflect on my own competence. Also, it is important, though personally confronting, to admit my shortages in competence for the sake of clients' best interests. And also in relation to code of ethics, I realized that the principle is not fully updated for LGBTQ plus group, which requires the efforts of all psychologists to update on that. And I have learned special needs and special situations that different groups may have. So for young people, they may experience conflict interest with parents, and they normally have concerns for confidentiality that psychologists may reveal their information to the parent. And for LGBTQ plus group, they often experience social and internal issues with stigma, acceptance, and well-being as sexual minority. And for my future practice, the application is that I will keep seeking for a supervision and consultation from experienced colleagues so that I can have responsible actions. And it's important for me to constantly updating on my knowledge and training my skills to work with people of special need to better assist and understand them. And I will constantly practice ethical decision-making model process more. So when I encounter ethical decisions making situations, I will make ethical decisions more effectively. So, and here is my reference list, and that's all for my presentation. Thanks for your listening.